Welcome to my annual Spooktober series, and today's video being the first one for 2024. Some, if not most of us, have seen celebrity lookalikes and impersonators. When I think of lookalikes and impersonators, I think of Britney Spears and Allegra, or Taylor Swift and Ashley, or how about Ariana Grande and Paige. I think impersonating a celebrity for entertainment is one thing, but making your entire identity and personality the celebrity is a bit odd to me. In both instances, you still have to study the celebrity because impersonators get paid to look the part, but they study it for an act, not to be like them 24/7. That's just my opinion though. Thinking about this reminded me of a video I watched a while ago about Taylor Swift being a clone of Zeena Lavey, or Zeena Shrek, who was the daughter of Anton Lavey, the man who founded the Church of Satan. I can see why people even started this conspiracy theory because the resemblance is uncanny. In addition, I can also see why people believe certain conspiracy theories I'll be talking about today, and I do believe some of those people have an unhealthy parasocial relationship that's clouding their judgment on certain things, but I also think celebrities using body doubles to throw off paparazzi and fans if they just want to run to the store without having to deal with the nonsense is also pretty believable, and maybe some celebrities have even done this, but celebrity clones is an entirely different thing. I've had people send me pictures of other people they thought were me, and I truly thought I was looking at a picture of myself or someone who was maybe related to me. I don't think they're clones of me though. One of my favorite shows is Orphan Black, and that's about clones. If you've ever watched it, let me know who your favorite clone is. Mine was a toss-up between Helena and Cosima, and I will say that the audio that they chose for whenever Helena shows up in one of the scenes is just phenomenal. I love it. But I did also want to say thank you so much to Sarah for becoming a member. It truly means so much to me. Without further ado, let's get into an overview of some of these celebrity conspiracy theories.
Swift is able to stay relevant for so long because she works with the Illuminati and the devil? There's a huge conspiracy that Taylor Swift is the rejuvenated clone of Zeena Lavey, the high priestess of the Church of Satan. Zeena is actually the daughter of the man who started the church himself, and they happen to look a lot alike. The lips, nose, eyes, if Taylor just drew her eyebrows on like that, they would be identical.
Did Taylor Swift actually sell her soul to the devil? Watch this. Clearly people don't know. Taylor Swift used to be a young, honest, and pure, talented musician. However, at the age of 18, she released a song with a caption in it saying, "I danced with the devil," and the whole song actually talking about selling her soul to the devil. When you sell your soul to the devil for fame, there's a high price to pay. Now Taylor Swift has a music video with witches casting spells and even performing demonic rituals live on stage at her concerts. Don't be deceived by what the culture often calls family-friendly or totally fine, for surely what's on her will get on you if you participate with it.
It's been over a year since Taylor Swift had her first show for the Perez tour, and I feel like all I've seen ever since March of 2023 is Taylor Swift, both good and bad. I may not be a Swiftie and I only know maybe a handful of her songs, but even I can see that she's incredibly successful. Taylor's success has only grown, and I'll always be Team Taylor when it comes to what Kanye did to her very many years ago. I do think that some Swifties have an incredibly unhealthy parasocial relationship with Taylor, but that's a discussion for another day. I did want to share this Reddit post I found asking why Taylor has become such a sensation, especially in recent times, because it gives a great explanation for those of you who maybe don't really understand it. Someone asked how and why did Taylor Swift become the biggest name in the music industry? And there was a response that I thought was very interesting, and it said, "My girlfriend is a Swiftie, so I may be able to help. She's been a famous star for nearly 20 years, and her discography touches on many genres, pop, folk, country, etc. Not only does it attract fans of different genre preferences, but her albums do seem like eras in her fans' lives. In today's culture where relatability is king, she found a way to tap into relatable girl topics through her and her fans' lives with her admittedly amazing storytelling. Her music has been the soundtrack to millions of girls' lives. Some other artists have fans that fade in and out, but the catch of Taylor Swift is that once you're a fan, you're locked into the story and the parasocial relationship. That, paired with the parasocial obsession of the fans who she's dating now, who these lyrics reference, what the secret meaning of this verse means, etc. So the fan base makes being a fan part of their personality, and they get to participate in this decade-long event with other people with shared love and experiences. And then at some point she became famous for being famous, similar to the Kardashians. Talking about her gets clicks and views from fans and haters. So in conclusion, she makes very relatable and catchy songs for millions of girls. They get heavily invested in the culture, and then popularity grows exponentially. With all of that said, why is Taylor Swift being associated with Zeena Lavey, also known as Zeena Shrek? Lavey is her maiden name, just for those wondering. Well, for one, they look eerily similar, and that's why people are saying Taylor is a clone of Zeena. I think another is the outrage that happened when some people came up with the theory that Taylor was practicing witchcraft on stage of her Eras tour.
Taylor Swift is a witch, and if you don't believe me, then watch this video.
In her most recent concert, Taylor Swift is performing Witchcraft. And I know this is going to raise some controversy in the comments, but this just doesn't look right to me.
We for signal that'll meet you
Time that we as Christians take a stand against this diabolical garbage and side with the Word of God.
We make music for a purpose. It's not just background music, or it's not just, fluffy, light stuff.
This is not elevator satanic music.
It's ritualistic music. It is music that by even the act of listening to it, you are participating in a satanic ritual.
Yes, this stuff is deep, dark, and heavy, but guess what? God gave us dominion over the devil.
The story about Taylor Swift will make your jaw drop. From the beginning, she's always been a cute, sweet country singer, but as you see in her guitar with the number 13, it was about to change. This picture describes what you're about to see. Watch this.
Who is Zeena? Most people probably know her as a daughter of the founder behind the Church of Satan and being the high priestess of the church until she left in 1990 to follow Sethianism. According to one source, Zeena has left Sethianism and now follows Tibetan Tantric Buddhism. In a 2012 Vice interview, Zeena did say that she no longer believed in the religious belief she was brought up in. She also said that she wanted to focus on helping people now. Quote, I felt the need to help people who have a short-range need for spiritual assistance, and the techniques I teach can aid them in overcoming their problems the same way I did, end quote. I mean, she was a high priestess with the Church of Satan, whether it was because she was good at preaching or if it was just because of her dad, but maybe because she was good at speaking to others and she maybe used those same skills for her new religion. A lot of people, myself included, have said how Taylor Swift has a cult-like following. I mean, some of her fans, mostly the Swifties, can be a little bit intense at times. In my opinion, they are on the same level as K-pop fans. It's mind-blowing at how big in terms of success Taylor has gotten over the past few years alone. But like I said earlier in this video, all I've been hearing about and seeing is Taylor Swift for over a year now. However, there was a Good Morning America interview that Zeena did, and once that interview popped up, some Swifties were looking for Easter eggs in Taylor's music videos, since from the little I do know, Taylor hides little clues and Easter eggs in her videos and social media profiles. Thanks to this, some Swifties were looking for clues in Taylor's videos regarding the Illuminati and how the Illuminati allegedly cloned successful and influential people to continue the spread of the agenda, whatever that agenda might be. I did watch a video about that, and they stated that this interview resurfaced when Taylor was under fire for the amount of traveling she did with her private jet and how she's negatively impacting the environment. So this was just an add-on to the backlash that she was already receiving. I do think all of the talk about the Illuminati clones and looking so similar to Zeena is why people put on their tinfoil hats for this conspiracy theory. At least in this theory, Taylor is still alive, which the same can't be said for the next celebrity, and that's Britney Spears. When it comes to Britney Spears, I think some people have a possibly unhealthy parasocial relationship with her, and because they care for her, they can't fathom something being wrong or her needing some kind of medical attention. I don't think that everyone who puts on their tinfoil hat when it comes to Britney is being malicious. There are people who truly genuinely care about her and her well-being a lot. I will say I love Britney. I've been a fan since Baby One More Time. I made a video about Free Britney a few years ago, and even in there mentioned a conspiracy theory that I did kind of believe at the time, but looking back on it now, I think it was strictly just a theory, and that's it. It was a theory with people commenting for her to wear yellow in her next video if she needs help, and she did in fact wear a yellow shirt. A good point someone brought up in the comment section on that video was that Britney probably never even saw those comments, and it was probably a huge coincidence since it didn't seem like she had access to her social media. Most of us, myself included, when it came to the whole Free Britney thing, had a big suspicion that she didn't have control over her social media anyway. Britney has been through a lot in her life from what we know, and I'm sure that there's even more that is being kept private. I saw a comment the other day where someone said the Free Britney people need to come help Britney, and someone responded with #HealBritney, which I do think that she has a lot of healing to do. Now, before we get into the actual conspiracy theory that I wanted to talk about today, I wanted to go ahead and share a reel that I came across on Instagram while researching for this video, and I'll link this person's Instagram and YouTube channel below, but this person went over a few things that make so much sense.
I'm probably about to get myself into trouble with this one, but I think that the public has been incredibly gaslit when it comes to Britney Spears. Recently, I've been digging back into the past to better understand the present with a better perspective, and I found a clip I think everybody needs to hear. It is from the 2019 podcast from Britney's Gram, where they revealed to the world that Britney Spears was being held against her will in a facility. And unfortunately, what you're about to hear isn't going to feel different than right now.
But that people in the audience had said that she had mentioned the conservatorship and then that had been edited out of the interview. I asked him if he ever got the sense that Britney was wanting to express himself more than she was able to in interviews and stuff. Management has final say on what goes in and what stays out. And this is him, yeah. You should see the behavior whenever she's booked on something with a live audience. They are freaked out because whatever leaves her mouth can't just be edited out. He did say, he shared, this was kind of anecdotal, so he said he wasn't there, in person, so I should preface it with that, but he said that he had some friends, and he's paraphrasing here, but he had some friends witness an interview where Britney had said, I want to go out with my girlfriends, but it's exhausting having to get permission all the time. Things like that were being said in interviews, and according to the source, so her freedom's just so whittled down, it's like not even worth trying.
The reason that I find this particularly alarming is that we haven't heard from Britney in any kind of sit-down interview since, I believe, 2018. Yet, since being freed from her conservatorship in 2022, she has released quite a few things. In August of 2022, we got new music from her, which was Hold Me Closer with Elton John, in which she never showed up to a photo shoot or ever did a sit-down interview or even a phone interview with anybody about this. And she did not participate in shooting the music video either. Then in July of 2023, we got Mind Your Business with will.i.am. And again, no interviews, no promotion. All we got was a text sort of interview with Variety, which could have been anyone. Then in October of 2023, we finally got her book, The Woman in Me, and somehow TMZ had an exclusive information that there would be no sit-down interview and that it's Britney's call. But this quote really, really got me. Those around her also understand it would open up a lot of problematic doors if she were to jump back into the interview game, getting hit with personal questions. That makes me feel like it was to protect somebody else, not Britney. It's to protect the people around her, which I don't even know who they're referring to with that. So the only interview that we got was all text-based and from People magazine. And a lot of the interview was kind of trying to convince us of why she was staying out of the public eye. It says, like, learning this new freedom, I'll admit it, is challenging at times. Like, as if to say, this is why you're not seeing me. And then this year in 2023, we got this fake interview where they pretended that Britney Spears interviewed Tate McRae. Hearing that whistleblower had told them back in 2019 that they were afraid to let her talk unedited really does give me the creeps when I think about what's going on right now. And if you've been around my channel long enough, you know that I believe that a lot of stuff was cut out of that book that we got. I just can't help but think that there's a reason we have not heard her speak extemporaneously since her 2021 court testimony. It is highly unusual for celebrities to release a bunch of creative projects and not ever sit down and speak about them. I fear we are being gaslit by the media about this. I'm being made to believe that this is Britney's choice, but I don't feel that it's true. Why would she want to continue the patterns of her 13-year conservatorship right now? Do you really believe that she's comfortable staying silent after her court case was completely settled and nobody has had to pay for the crimes against her? Do you really think she's okay with the fact that the Bridges facility she was told she could not speak on because they would sue her is still up and running? Do you think she is comfortable with the fact that the judges and the lawyers and the doctors that were all complicit in this whole entire illegal, allegedly, conservatorship never had to answer for their crimes? Do you think she's comfortable staying silent on that? Because I don't. All of those people are still doing those jobs. Except, of course, for one of her doctors that she alleged abused her that mysteriously died 2 weeks before the court was set to review his care of her. In Britney's 2021 court testimony, she talked a lot about not being heard in court before when she was trying to get freed. And she talked a lot about the medical abuse she felt she suffered. And she talked a lot about the legal system and how it wasn't helping her. Very little of that was in her book, and she's never sat down to discuss that. And I just don't think that's a mistake. I don't believe Britney Spears would be remaining silent on this stuff after being told for 13 years she wasn't allowed to speak out. But that book sure did tie a nice little bow on it.
I do find it weird that we haven't seen Britney much or even in interviews, as this Instagram reel suggested. So many big things came out without any interviews or anyone even seeing Britney. That doesn't necessarily prove that any theories about her are true, but it does point to something just not feeling right, at least for me. There have been people who have said Britney's been replaced by a clone or by a body double, someone who's using filters, and that the real Britney is no longer alive. Before I go into why this theory exists, I did want to share my opinion. I believe that celebrities do use body doubles as a way to be able to try to deter paparazzi or fans so that they can have some kind of privacy, as I stated earlier. But when it comes to Britney Spears not being alive anymore, I don't think I can really get on board with that particular conspiracy. I know that people online have shared the court documents that have Britney's name on it and also followed by the term deceased, and later it came out that this was some kind of a typo, but I haven't seen an actual death certificate yet, which is why I'm kind of questioning everything and if maybe it was a typo. If I'm proven wrong in the future, then I will definitely admit that I was wrong. From Britney's teeth not being the same to filters glitching and revealing a different eye color other than her natural eye color to Britney being dead are probably the most major things you might see if you do a quick search about Britney Spears. I won't be diving into the thick of it because that could be an entire video on its own, but I'll go over the main reasons why people think she's a deep fake or that there's a body double and that she's quite possibly not with us anymore. I do remember some people saying that her wedding to Sam seemed to be staged or fake as well. In my opinion, I do think that there was something a bit off about the wedding, but I just can't pinpoint it exactly. Maybe the lack of media attention when it was happening or something of that nature.
Something is very off about Britney's wedding video. Why was Britney filmed in her living room on an iPhone 3GS? Look closely at her hair, makeup, and nails. Do you notice anything strange? Why are there so many shots from far away? You can't even see her. That is not Britney. The quality is bad in all of the clips Britney is in, but high quality when it's just Sam. The dance floor clips look like they were taken with a 1990s camcorder. This is supposed to be Madonna and Britney dancing at her wedding. None of the guests were actually at the wedding, and Britney Spears is an AI. Britney has not been seen in public since her wedding. Now Madonna is doing a weird dance. I am not convinced of any of the fun that was allegedly had at the wedding. Something is very off about Britney's husband, Sam, too. They have not been seen in public together since the wedding. Why isn't Britney wearing any pants at her wedding? Something is not adding up. I don't trust Sam, do you?
Anyway, Back in 2022, an article stated, quote, "From hashtag freed Britney to hashtag where is Britney. Fans of the pop star have been on high alert for several weeks now, monitoring her social media posts and the whereabouts of their favorite singer, her husband, and even family members across the country. What makes them suspicious are the increasingly sparse posts and, above all, the absence of sightings and paparazzi, which have led many to believe that Spears never returned from her honeymoon and is dead or missing. But what is really going on?" End quote. In this article, they made mention of a video that Britney posted on her Instagram where she was on a private jet and said that she was going to be in New York. I think I actually remember this video, which is kind of weird that I remember that far back, but people were very quick to notice that Britney was not being spotted in New York. There were no paparazzi photos or anything of the sort. Supposedly, Britney only said she was going to New York because she was trying to throw people off and that her and Sam were actually going to Mexico. In the grand scheme of things, I do think that's a believable story given that Britney was hounded by paparazzi for so many years. They followed her absolutely everywhere. She even cried on camera talking about this in an interview. I have seen people question if the paparazzi had something to do with what happened to Britney in 2007, and in my unexpert and unsolicited opinion, I think a little bit, yeah. These people were ruthless. They stalked her every single move and harassed her. Got in her face. She couldn't do anything without it being plastered all over the tabloids the next day. Of course, I do believe in mental health and mental health illnesses, chemical imbalances, and everything of that sort. But what the paparazzi put Britney through was disgusting and could affect someone a lot. I wouldn't have been able to deal with that. But back to the conspiracy theories about Britney. If you go on TikTok, you'll find so many conspiracy theories about Britney. So many people break down every single thing that Britney says or does, or try to find a hidden meaning, or just see filters glitching. What I will say is, let's say that these conspiracies really truly hold no merit. I mean, you can definitely see filters glitching and Britney looking different, which we'll get to that part soon. But let's say all of this is 100% false. To the people examining everything about Britney, how is this amount of obsession healthy or helpful for Britney? I hope she doesn't see everything that is being said about her because I'm sure it's exhausting. A lot of people have speculated that Britney has green screens in her videos and the backgrounds are added in prior to uploading the video or photo. Since there is a lot on social media that is altered, and with the rise of AI, it can get hard for people to differentiate real from fake. I've had people say that my videos are all created with AI when I'm a real person researching and writing my scripts along with using my voice and editing videos for the viewer's consumption. While Britney's videos and photos may have a green screen for whatever reason, it could also be people being accusatory and others following suit. Do I think she's using a green screen? I mean, some videos do look a little weird, but it could also be to throw people off. I have seen the filters glitching, but maybe it could be a body double, so there is something on Britney's Instagram, so people don't question where she is. Or maybe the people who still may have control over Britney are trying to make her look a certain way for other reasons, but that's just me putting my tinfoil hat on.
I'm not a conspiracy theorist. Something is up in the situation, and honestly, people need to open their eyes. I'm an overthinker. When things don't line up, I will analyze out of it. I think people like living in delusion. They're like, she's fine. Does this bitch look fine? I mean, and it's not like the erratic behavior. It's like, okay, this is Britney Spears. She's finally free and she's rich. Tell me then, why is she in someone's home? And don't tell me this is her Malibu mansion, because, hang on, you see that fucking fan right there? That's a poor person fan. That's only a fan that poor people have. People only have that fan. It's a box fan. We have that fan so that we can move air from rooms to room because you don't have central air. That doesn't make any sense. What hotel have that box fan? Oh no, Britney Spears just like that box fan. Oh yeah, then how come this house looks poor as shit? If people can answer these questions, I'm good. Look at the furniture. That's some old ass people furniture. Do you see the bed? That's not a rich person bed. And like just the frames. She's obviously being stowed away somewhere. The video goes on. I don't know if she deleted it by now. She just says like, if I delete my Instagram again, don't tell anybody and don't call the police. That's a weird thing to say. And she's acting erratic as shit. I know Britney's like erratic because like the lithium, but there's too many things that are weird. Like if she's not wearing something on her wrist, then there's bruises. You can tell someone's holding the camera. It's not on a stabilizer. It's not on a tripod. That's just weird. Don't tell me that's like place in Maui. Don't tell me that, oh, she's at a hotel. What kind of hotel is a box fan, bitch? This is like the most coveted like person to get a photograph by TMZ. How has no one seen her? How has no one had a fucking photo? Why is she in like some random ghetto house? So excited about a fucking dress. Why can't she just go shopping? And why are these videos so bad? Oh, she's old. That doesn't line up. My grandma's old and she can shoot better footage than this because she has a new iPhone. You telling me Britney Spears now free doesn't have an iPhone? She doesn't have an Android? Was she using some shit from 2008? Like, a lot of people like to be like, oh, she's fine. Use your head. Does she look fine? Why? People don't like digging deeper? Because when you dig deeper, you realize there's cracks everywhere. Yeah, the conservatorship ended, but she's in a care plan, which is basically the same thing. And it's the same people from the conservatorship. So just do the math. People that were stealing from you, that were drugging you, that didn't give a fuck about you. If they still have the opportunity to do that, but now you just outed them, what do you think's gonna fucking happen? I'm also an attorney. The legal system is horrible. The fact that she got into this conservatorship and it went on for so long is a travesty. Number two, the fact that they would put the same people just because bureaucratically that's how it works is so wrong. See the pillow right there? I screenshotted it. That looks like Justin Timberlake. That might be Rihanna up right here. Oh, I don't know where my finger's going. Right here. That might be Rihanna. This looks like Justin Timberlake. These look like a bunch of celebrities. And then there's a teddy bear. This looks like a little girl's room. Why is she in a little girl's room? She's Britney Spears. And why am I making this video? I'm not a conspiracy theorist. It feels like this is like my civic duty because how the fuck is everyone just watching this train wreck happen? And they're just like, you know what? I'm sure it's fine. The conservatorship ended. You go off, okay? The creators who make stuff, they do a lot of risky things by talking about it because evidently it looks like there's some very powerful people here and money is at play. Tell me if this is not the scariest thought you've ever had. This is one of the most well-known, prolific, and at the time richest women. She's not rich as now because her family f***ed her over, but if this can happen to her where someone takes your rights away, you're never a person again, and all of a sudden people are just watching your life unravel and like it's being blatantly obvious that you're not in person and no one does a thing. Feels like people have to say something. You know, and I'm only getting mad because if this can happen to her, it can happen to any of us. And it just shows you, once you lose your rights, you may never get them back. No one will give a shit. No one will make a video because someone will be afraid that someone's gonna call them conspiracy theorists. And you know they have hundreds of hours of her recordings, right? That was in the documentary. They have hundreds of hours of her recording. AI is so good. It looks like they're holding her because her arms, as you can see, have those red bandits on them. If they don't have them, there's bruises on them. Why are there bruises? Somebody real check on Britney Spears. Perez Hilton, where the f*** are you at? Oh, you're at the wedding and you're such a good friend. Then record yourself going to her and visiting her. Because I don't think you are a friend. I think you're just a fucking person chasing clout. It's not adding up. Nothing is adding up. You can answer these questions. You can stop calling anyone a conspiracy theorist, but you can't answer them, can you? But it's not conspiracy when nothing's adding up. But yeah, I don't know. Someone comment me. Fight me on this. Because this looks sus.
I have a theory about Britney Spears that I want to run by you guys because it's totally a conspiracy. And I could absolutely be wrong. But also, what if I'm right? I mean, if I'm right, we'd probably never find out anyways, because it's not the end of the world, but still. So last year in April, Britney Spears announced that she was pregnant. I think it was like April 11th. And the whole world was kind of mean about it. And then in May, she posted that she shouldn't have announced so soon and whatever, which tells me she probably got pregnant in March. And I don't want to make light of a miscarriage because that's, you know, you guys know I went through one last October and it's not cool, it's not fun. But hear me out, what if she didn't actually have a miscarriage? I was on a TikTok about some lady who kept lying about being pregnant, and I was like, what if she was actually pregnant? And then it's got me thinking about Britney. If Britney Spears was going to hide her pregnancy, then posting old pictures and videos on TikTok and Instagram like she was would make sense, right? It would make sense as to why everyone was like, this can't be Britney, none of this is real. None of this is new. It looks altered. Everything looks like AI images. Her wedding was awkward. There's a picture on her Instagram that she posted of like just this, where it looks like you can see her belly. And she could have been pregnant in that picture. It would also explain her not being on her meds this past year, right? Because if she's bipolar or manic and she wasn't on her meds because you can't take lithium while pregnant, that would check out. It would also explain why she just kind of vanished until the last, couple months where she's kind of reemerged and come back to herself and just hanging out with her friends, and the weird posting has like decreased because she would have given birth at the end of December, early January. But here's where the conspiracy part comes in. What celebrity had a baby in January? Someone who documented her multiple weddings. A person who's documented her whole life and never kept anything secret ever. The most transparent celebrity we know right now. Perez Hilton. How does a woman go from documenting everything to not even telling her mother she was having a baby? She didn't even tell her mom. And then suddenly she had a 10-day-old baby in January, at the beginning of January. What if Perez Hilton adopted Britney's baby? And again, that goes back to my we'll never know, and that's okay. And if she did, that's amazing, because that's what a BFF would do if your friend needed you to. What if that's what happened?
Just following up from my video from yesterday where I asked if there is a Britney Spears conspiracy theory that I'm not a part of, because it just seemed like there were a lot of tributes at the VMAs last night. A lot of people are like, yes, there's Britney conspiracy theories, like, where have you been? And I'm more talking about, I feel like there's something time sensitive that is going on that only people in certain circles are aware of. Blake Lively wearing her dress to And It Ends With Us red carpet. Sabrina Carpenter having multiple nods to Britney's performances in the VMAs last night. Megan Thee Stallion wearing the infamous snake dress. Halsey's recent Lucky performance. It just feels like there are a lot of nods to Britney and her career, and those are the type of things that happen, you know, after someone, which obviously there's conspiracies about that. I'm just saying it seems like this certain A-list circle has decided to start like putting Britney's name like more in the spotlight again, and I'm just saying I wonder if there's a reason for that. Also, good points in my comments is that perhaps some of the people who are doing this are hoping to get casted as Britney in a like movie about her life that could be coming out. She's also just quite literally the queen of pop princess Brit, and you know, the Y2K is coming back around the style, so people are just taking advantage of taking advantage of her fashion sense, etc. I'm just saying that it seems like all this recent attention could also be interpreted as maybe these people who are, you know, A-list celebrities in certain circles that could know more than us mortals, that they might know that they might be like quietly signaling their support publicly in this way by providing all these nods to Britney, like publicly on these huge public platforms.
Never have to see this picture again, but you know, you've seen this a million times on Britney Spears' Instagram, and she just reshared it today, January 8, 2024. I'm not shitting you. It says, this picture is 2 years old, remember Rose? Actually, according to my notes, which I just looked back on her Instagram, from the one she hasn't archived or deleted, or whoever is in control of her Instagram, the first time we saw this post was August 3rd, 2020. So in all reality, it's over 3.5 years old, so what the going on? I got in my DeLorean for you guys, and I went all the way back to August 3rd, 2020. This is the first time that we see that she shared this, okay? She talks about random, but then it just continues to talk about roses and Project Rose and things like that. So what we get over the course of 3.5 years is variations of this picture along with this video. Now, sometimes she's wearing this rose headband and sometimes she's not. Now, in her post, she claims that she loves that top and she continues to wear that top, but I honestly think, in my humble opinion, that she recorded all of this on the same day and she's continually sharing up even into present 2024, okay? Now, we'll go through it. Rose. August 3rd. And a video of her, 3 stars, which I always take as TriStar. Now, TriStar was part of the conservatorship, you know, Lou Taylor and all that shit like that. This is when she was giving out pop warning signs, okay? This is before the conservatorship was terminated. I just want to show you, she kept consistently showing the same type of pictures over and over again. Boom, more videos talking about, yes, I do have a midriff top for every day of the week. Here she has a sneak peek of what's coming. This was August 21st, 2020. I'm calling just a touch of rose. But we have yet to figure out or know what the Project Roses. Now, over the course of August 3rd, 2020 and present time today, January 9, 2024, she posted 9 videos of her wearing the same outfit. She was either behind this white screen or she was outside in the same damn location she shared the other pictures with. It was constant, showing you, and here she is mentioning, you never know, a rose could end up being a thorn in your side. Sorry, thought it was funny. Anyway, it goes on and on. And then in January 19th of 2021, she reminds us again, don't forget about Just a Touch of Rose. We still don't know what that means. As of right now, I counted what was currently there, and this is not, I'm not talking about the ones that have been archived or deleted, but through the course of that time period starting on August 3rd, 2020, she posted referencing Project Rose or this outfit minus the headband or with the headband 35 times. In that 35 times, there were 54 pictures and variations of that same time frame, which in my opinion, I say it's the same damn day, and 9 videos. February 7, 2022. I know this pic is 2 years old, but I haven't technically shared it, and I thought I looked cute. It's National Rose Day. Then today she says it's 2 years old. It has been way, way longer than 2 years old. It's been 3.5 years. Every time I see stuff like this, it scares the shit out of me. I don't know what to do. You guys want to say it's normal? It's totally not normal to share 54 variations of the same picture from the same day. It makes me nervous. It makes me uneasy, and I'm just gonna turn a blind eye because this shit isn't normal. It isn't. Something is going on. I don't know what the that is, but you'd think after being 2 years out of the conservatorship, you would want to just speak up randomly. I'm not talking about the conservatorship shit. I'm just talking about being you. What the is this? Because you still haven't explained to us what Project Rose is, and we're sitting here going and twiddling our thumbs waiting until you do. I know that sometimes I can come off a little crass and a little mean, and don't ever think that I don't adore and absolutely love Britney Spears. I do. But this shit is getting overwhelming. Not necessarily annoying, but say it already. So I know, and she's beautiful. I'm just tired of seeing this goddamn picture. I thought I'd never have to see it again. Sounding off. Bye.
In the same article that I spoke about before, they talk about how some people think Sam was the mastermind behind her account. Quote, Also suspicious is a sudden affection shown publicly via a video and a dedication to her sister Jamie, with whom it is known that there is bad blood due to the lack of support during the conservatorship period. It seems obvious that Britney does not have control of her mobile phone and perhaps not even her life. Why else would Sam have a completely green room used for making videos as he has shown himself? For plotters, the answers are twofold. He, or another occult entity, controls Britney, or what we see is not the singer by a clone or double of her. End quote. The interesting part about this article is they bring up none other than Perez Hilton. If you don't know who Perez Hilton is, long story short, he is basically a celebrity gossip type of person. Now, that is seriously a long story short. I plan on making an entire video about his behavior. But when all of these theories came out, of course, Perez just had to step in. He claims that he has a reliable source who told him some information regarding Britney, but he can't share any of that for Britney's own protection. In my opinion, if he really wanted to protect Britney, he would have just kept his mouth completely shut, because this vague quote I'm about to read by Perez probably stirred up even more theories and drama. He claimed that things are bad with Britney, but he addressed the fans by saying, quote, "Your concern is warranted, but when the truth comes out, you will all be surprised. A lot of fans would not take it well if I said what has been reported about her, but especially if I shared what I know, I don't think I would help Britney. If I spoke, I would hurt her. You ask me if she's okay? The answer is no. She's not okay, guys. I say this because it's important for her fans to understand that first, she's not okay. Second, you guys are not crazy. Third, almost all conspiracy theories are crazy." End quote. I truly don't understand why he intervened and stated all of that, because he's just stirring the pot. How did Perez in his right mind think that that statement was okay, and at the same time say that he can't give out full details in order to protect her? Perez is and always will be a clout chaser. But of course, for legal purposes, that's just my opinion. Besides what I've already talked about, another thing people have focused on are her teeth.
It was really gross because it was it was like a one, you know how you have the top retainer and the bottom, but it was one. And you put it in so you really couldn't talk. And it had a key and everything that you put in it to turn it to tighten it every night.
This is Britney today, and I think you'll all attest it's sexy, smart, and a trend-setting smile.
I know I'm known for my $1 million tooth, and my advice to give you is just to, drink a lot of soda pop, candy, and anything that'll, make your teeth just beautiful.
I've seen some people analyze her teeth over the years, but there is no denying that her teeth look very different from when she was younger. We all know Britney's signature from ear-to-ear smile. First and foremost, there was a photo circulating of her with Dr. Kevin Sands, who is a dentist from LA and has plenty of pictures with celebrities on his site. There is a section where he talks about dental bonding and uses his photo with Britney Spears, so we can possibly assume that that's what Britney had done. It would make sense because when I was younger, I had a gap in between my two front teeth, and the dentist suggested dental bonding, but he recommended that I go for braces for the top teeth instead. My gap was bigger than the current gaps that Britney has in her teeth, just for reference. However, dental bonding does have to be redone every 3 to 10 years. According to Dr. Sand's website, quote, "Genetics, poor hygiene, and trauma can affect the appearance of your teeth. Gaps, chips, misshapen teeth, and cracked teeth can prevent you from having the attractive and charming smile you desire. Dental bonding provides cosmetic enhancements to your smile by addressing common dental issues. This process is quick and painless, and it provides beautiful results for most patients. Dental bonding may be reversed in the future in order to apply permanent or longer-lasting treatments." End quote. When it comes to Britney and what we know, her teeth and the conspiracy behind it could all just be due to the aging process. Not having the bonding redone, maybe poor hygiene, since one source stated that they allegedly read somewhere about Britney sharing that during the conservatorship, her father didn't really give her the best access to basic necessities. Add in her trauma and mental health to the mix, and this could be the reason for her teeth, in my non-expert opinion, since I'm obviously not a dentist. Another thing that gets me thinking is if Britney sees people talking about her appearance like this and constantly bringing up how she looks so different from her past self, I'm sure that can take a little bit of a toll on her. She's been criticized her entire career, and now her fans are doing the same exact thing. Not everyone doing this is malicious, because I genuinely think a lot of fans are just concerned for her well-being and only want the best for her, but it is a lot. When it comes to Britney, too many people don't realize that Britney might look a little different because, first of all, she's 42, and while that is not old whatsoever, aging does exist.
At the age of 17, you can see that Britney has nice infrabrow fullness and supratarsal show, nasal tip bulbosity, and youthful cheek volume. And at the age of 18, Britney has equal horizontal thirds of her face. At the age of 22, Britney has gotten veneers. At the age of 30, Britney has some eyebrow descent. At the age of 32, Britney may have started to get some Botox. At the age of 33, Britney may have had a rhinoplasty. And at the age of 34, I'm seeing some signs of a brow lift. And at the age of 35, Britney may have started to get some lip filler. And at the age of 38, Britney may have started to get filler into her cheeks and under eye areas. At the age of 40, Britney may have started to get some additional cheek filler. In 2023, she's still 41, she may have gotten a revision brow lift.
Britney has been overworked, put through a lot, has also been known to smoke cigarettes along with any type of medications that she takes, so for what she's been through, I'd say she looks a lot better than expected. I know that we don't see very many pictures of Britney when it comes to paparazzi, but she's probably just trying to lay low because she was treated so brutally by the paparazzi in the past. I mean, she still talks about them in a lot of her posts. She doesn't make public appearances anymore, and maybe there is something more going on, but maybe she just needs to try to live as normal of a life that she can right now and work on healing. But if we bring it back to the reel that I shared earlier, maybe there is also something a little more sinister going on. Side note though, I know some people talk about her dancing all over the place and spinning around in circles, but to those people, have you never seen a Britney Spears music video or a concert? That's kind of her thing. She's been spinning and flipping her hair for literal decades. When it comes to the knives dancing, I mean, that I don't really have a theory for, but if you have one, leave it in the comments below. I'd love to hear it. I will say that after falling down the Britney rabbit hole on TikTok, literal hours of scrolling, I can see how some would believe this conspiracy. The way some people have analyzed Britney is actually pretty convincing. What's sad is that a conspiracy theory is more believable than what may be happening in real life. The Britney that once ruled the world is a different person, and I think because people remember her at her peak, it's kind of hard to see this new Britney. With what we know now, it's hard not to feel awful for how she was treated and what she went through. No matter what your opinion is, whether you believe all of the conspiracies, don't believe them, or maybe you're like me and some of them do actually make sense while others don't, I think we can all agree that we hope she's okay. I hope she is getting whatever help and support she needs and deserves so that she can finally be free. There's so much more that I can talk about when it comes to Britney, so of course, to any Britney fans, just know that this is a brief overview. Don't come for me about any other things because, as I've already said, I could make an entire video just about Britney conspiracy theories. The next celebrity conspiracy theory is a bit sad because it involves people saying Katy Perry is JonBenét Ramsey. This has got to be one of the worst celebrity conspiracy theories, and my reasoning behind that opinion is that it must hurt the family of JonBenét Ramsey. Knowing that Katy Perry isn't JonBenét, but here are a bunch of people trying to say otherwise. I remember seeing JonBenét everywhere as a child, and even nowadays I still see her on magazine covers. Her case is still considered a cold case, and it's such a heartbreaking case. She had her whole life ahead of her, and it was taken from her. But how did people come up with this Katy Perry being JonBenét theory? First of all, it starts with the theory that JonBenét was never actually brutally murdered, and how she was instead kidnapped due to an Illuminati conspiracy. This would mean her parents went along with this kidnapping and that JonBenét was actually Katy. The reasoning behind this theory is that Katy and JonBenét look similar and even their parents look similar. According to one source, they stated that one creator here on YouTube went to great lengths to prove that Katy and JonBenét's eyebrows were so similar that they had to be the same person. Someone else talked about Katy Perry's memoir, and there's one line in there where Katy Perry writes, quote, "Not that I was one of those stage kids. There was no JonBenét Ramsey inside inside of me waiting to burst out, end quote. So of course, this was taken out of context, and this was, quote, the Illuminati always puts out clues hidden in plain sight, end quote. One source debunked these claims very easily, so I'm shocked that this conspiracy theory even gained any traction. First of all, Katy was older than JonBenét. She was 12 when JonBenét was murdered. Another good point was, with all of the Illuminati talk surrounding this theory, why would the Illuminati fake the death of a child pageant winner only to make her into another famous person in the future? The evidence that was presented was really bad, and it was so easily debunked. A little side note is Katy Perry was one of the nicest celebrities that I've ever met. I met her at Warped Tour back when I didn't even know who she was, and she was dating Travis McCoy from Gym Class Heroes. I went up to her booth and we talked about my nail art, and she was the absolute sweetest. I will always remember that interaction with her and how great it really was. But anyway, let's move on to the next celebrity conspiracy theory, and that's that Avril Lavigne died, and the Avril we know today is actually a clone. Just like Britney Spears, people believe that Avril Lavigne died and has been replaced by a different person or a clone.
When you get to Canada next month for your tour, what is like your Canadian must-have as soon as you touch down?
Poutine.
Period.
Curd cheese. Ketchup chips. Swish LA. Tim Hortons. Yeah.
All the
It's usually
things.
drive through, immediately go to Tim Hortons, get an iced cappuccino and
Not for one moment have I ever believed this stupid theory that Avril Lavigne has actually, and there's some woman named Melissa impersonating her. This woman right here is Melissa. No Canadian in their right mind says, "Hi, can I get an iced cappuccino?"
This conspiracy theory is a bit dark at its core. The theory says that the real Avril unalived herself after dealing with the pressure of fame and the death of her grandfather, which is a pretty awful theory to come up with because both of these are or would be very heartbreaking situations. To keep going with the theory, people said that an actress by the name of Melissa Vandella took Avril's place since they look so similar. Melissa was supposedly hired at first just to take Avril's place when it came to paparazzi photos and things of that nature, but then she would completely take over. Here's the mind-blowing part. The evidence to support this conspiracy theory are Avril's appearance. Fans have overanalyzed Avril's face and how her style has changed. Melissa wore more skirts and dresses, while Avril was usually pictured with pants. But I just wanted to say, Avril's face has changed over the years because, first of all, as I've already said in this video, aging exists, and that's normal. Secondly, I'm no expert, but have seen some plastic surgeons say they allegedly believe Avril may have had some injectables. I mean, Avril looks amazing, and she looks older compared to her 17-year-old self when she gained so much fame, but at the same time, there's also a little over 20 years in between now and then. Someone's style changes over time. At least for me, I've tried so many different styles over the years, and sometimes I'm in dresses and skirts for months, and other times I'm just in pants. Not to mention, you can see in some comparison videos that her confidence increased as the years went on. It's just wild to see Avril's style as part of the evidence for this conspiracy theory. There is another part of the theory, and that's that the song Nobody's Home, that is actually one of my favorite Avril Lavigne songs, but this song is said to also be some kind of hint towards Avril unaliving herself, since the lyrics are talking about feeling out of place and possible depression. Avril has also said in past interviews that she wrote this song about someone she knew that hadn't been making the best choices at the time. I still listen to this song in 2024, and I'll continue to listen to it well into the future, but there is passion behind the song. It's real and raw, and you can feel the emotion. So many people can relate to it, and while it might seem like a depressing song, that shouldn't automatically point to this extreme of a conspiracy theory. There was also a photo shoot where the name Melissa was written out on Avril's hand. I mean, if the theory already came out, Avril could have done this as a way to kind of poke fun at this conspiracy theory. She did say that the theory was dumb when she went on the Call Her Daddy podcast. With this theory, it possibly started with a blog post in 2011 titled Avril está muerta, which means Avril is dead in English. Whoever wrote the blog post definitely dedicated a lot of time into trying to prove Avril was replaced by Melissa. They talked about Avril's lyrics and really overanalyzed her appearance. It wasn't until 2015 that this theory would basically go viral, and it was thanks to BuzzFeed tweeting about it, while Paper Magazine and Vice would hop on the bandwagon and write about this conspiracy theory as well. This would in turn add yet another theory that maybe Avril died in a snowboarding accident and that's why she was replaced with Melissa. When I watched some of these videos of people analyzing Avril's facial features, it truly just looks like the normal aging process, and maybe she's had a little bit of work done, but just not as extreme as some other celebrities. Along with Melissa being an actress, so I think the farthest we can get with this conspiracy theory is maybe Melissa was used as a body double at times, but I don't think that she has fully replaced Avril. The next celebrity has a similar theory to Avril's, as in that they were unalived in a car accident, and that would be Paul McCartney. According to conspiracy theorists, a lot of celebrities have passed and been replaced by either clones or body doubles. So it's no surprise that Paul McCartney was on this list of celebrities being replaced. In October 1969, there was a conspiracy theory started that Paul McCartney had passed away in a car accident 3 years prior, and for the past 3 years had been replaced by a body double. This supposed accident was 10 weeks after the last concert, and the manner of death, according to the theory, is decapitation. So what was one of the biggest pieces of evidence that these theorists decided to cling on to? Well, it was the lyrics in Strawberry Fields Forever, where John Lennon says cranberry sauce, but this was misheard by some who believed John said, "I buried Paul." Well, on October 22nd, 1969, this theory blew up in a significant amount of newspapers. Thanks to this, ABC and NBC both picked up the story. However, the NBC News stated on the 23rd that Paul might or might not be dead. Quote, before both ABC and NBC broadcast new photos of McCartney that had been transmitted by AP on Wednesday night, McCartney, who had gone on vacation at his Scottish farm, was forced to give interviews and pose for photos over the course of 5 days for the Glasgow Herald, Life magazine, which more than a week later put McCartney and his family on the cover with the headline, "Paul is still with us," the BBC, the Financial Times, the Liverpool Daily Post, and a Portland, Oregon radio station. Even as the controversy waned, WOR-TV in New York broadcast a 1-hour special at the end of November with attorney F. Lee Bailey leading the inquiry. As you may have had occasion to learn or recall with the recent release of Peter Jackson's Get Back film, the Beatles last performed in concert in October 1966 in San Francisco. The sessions we see in Get Back took place in January 1969, and Paul and Linda Eastman and John Lennon and Yoko Ono married 2 months later, just 8 days apart, with Paul's wedding surprising many fans who thought McCartney was still involved with Jane Asher. It was a very unsettled time for the band and its millions of fans, end quote. Now that you know what the theory is, how did it start? It was 1969. There was a woman who was at a party at Drake University, and she told another student that she had heard that Paul McCartney died in a car crash and was replaced by a body double. This student ended up telling a friend who was the sports editor of the student newspaper. The Drake Times-Delphic would publish an article titled, "Is Beatle Paul McCartney Dead?" on September 17th. Quote, it set out clues, the author said, could be found on the cover of the Sgt. Pepper album from 1967. There is a hand above Paul's head in the cover photo montage, said to be a sign of death. The flowers on the cover were assertedly grave-like in part. Paul is wearing a black armband in one photo from the album. He alone has his back turned in another. If you play Revolution 9 from the White Album backward, you may make out something that sounds like "Turn Me On, Dead Man." Paul's death is the secret meaning of "The Walrus Was Paul" in the lyrics of Glass Onion. In all, it's almost certainly the most enduring sports story ever published by the Drake paper, end quote. After this article, a Drake student told a friend about this who went to Ohio Wesleyan University. Then the rumor spread to Eastern Michigan University, and once students got a hold of that, they started calling into radio stations. A DJ at one of these radio stations listened to the song Strawberry Fields Forever and heard the "I buried Paul" part, then went on to call Apple Records in London. A publicist would go on to deny that Paul was dead. Back in Detroit, a person by the name of Fred LeBoer, who was listening to the radio and went to the University of Michigan, would go on to write a review of Abbey Road several days after the Drake paper story came out. Fred would spend a few days studying the albums and published a review titled "McCartney Dead: New Evidence Brought to Light" in the Michigan Daily. Apparently, there was some new evidence brought to light in this review. William Campbell was supposedly the body double of Paul. Quote, "The meaning of the letters looking like OPD on McCartney's Sgt. Pepper uniform patched, officially pronounced dead, they were actually OPP, an item worn by Ontario Provincial Police, and a raft of elements from the cover of Abbey Road, where he saw John dressed as the officiant at a funeral, Ringo as an undertaker, George as a gravedigger, the barefoot Paul signifying death, and a license plate on a Volkswagen Beetle parked nearby 281F as a reference to McCartney's supposed age if he had lived, although he was actually 27, end quote. Eventually, this information made it to ABC's network Contemporary Radio, and obviously it just kind of took off from there. However, Paul McCartney never died in a car accident. But enough about celebrity conspiracy theories talking about them dying and being replaced. Let's talk about a conspiracy theory that says a celebrity never passed away when they were pronounced dead. Did you know that Elvis didn't pass away on August 16th, 1977, but that he was still alive and quite possibly might still be alive today? Well, at least that's what the conspiracy theorists say. It wasn't too long after his funeral that speculation of him not actually dying started. In my opinion, I think because of how many people were fans of Elvis and some even had parasocial relationships with him, that they just couldn't cope with his death, even with doctors and coroners confirming that he had passed away. Alas, these people thought that he had gone into hiding instead. According to these conspiracy theorists, over the past 4 decades, Elvis has been spotted out in public. There was something called the Elvis Sighting Society that was started in 1989. It got to the point where people tried saying that Elvis was an extra in Home Alone. But why would Elvis still be alive? What would be the reasoning behind this conspiracy? Some people believe that he was part of the mafia, and he had to go into hiding in order to escape the mafia. So if that's the case, I would wonder why he would be an extra in Home Alone if he was trying to be in hiding. If he were in hiding, he'd probably change his look as much as he could so he wouldn't be recognized. Well, this theory came out from an author by the name of Gail Brewer Giorgio. Gail wrote that she had gone through thousands of FBI documents, and that's how she came to the conclusion that Elvis somehow had to go into witness protection. Gail said that Elvis was an undercover agent in 1976 to infiltrate the fraternity, which was made up of dozens of racketeers. The fraternity had to deal with Elvis over an airplane that he had and that he was selling, and that's how he supposedly had a chance to get to know the fraternity for the FBI. The FBI didn't make a comment when the book came out, but there was no mention of Elvis being an undercover agent or helping the FBI in the 760 files that they did release. Now, I'm about to put my own tinfoil hat on. While I may not agree with this Elvis not dying when they said he did theory, I don't think that just because the FBI released some files without a certain person's name being associated with helping the FBI, whether it's Elvis or an average everyday citizen, it doesn't mean that's 100% the truth. I don't think we know all of the information even when official documents are released, but that's just my 2 cents. Gail did say that her evidence is based on facts, not feelings, because she never even owned an Elvis album or any memorabilia of him. Quote, "I know what he really did. The world needs to know that Elvis Presley put his life on the line. I think it's sad that we don't know the whole Elvis. If I don't do this for Elvis, nobody is going to." End quote. Another reason why people believe that Elvis faked his death was because of his tombstone. These people thought the family covered up his death because of his middle name being misspelled. His middle name, which is Aaron, was spelled with 2 A's instead of just 1 on his tombstone. And this was odd because Elvis had spelled his middle name with 1 A later on in his life. It's thought that they purposely misspelled the middle name so that it wouldn't be weird with him still being alive, and I guess you can say one of those superstition type of situations. Another reason why people thought Elvis was still alive was an interview where Priscilla misspoke. Quote, "In a 2005 interview with Oprah on the TV host show, Presley's wife Priscilla was addressing how Presley spoiled their daughter Lisa Marie. Skeptics believe Priscilla said, 'It's exactly what he said the other day,' before correcting herself and saying, 'You said,' to Oprah. They also say Lisa Marie evaded Larry King's question during a 2003 interview when the host asked if she ever feels communication with her father, end quote. I don't think Elvis faked his death, whether it be for witness protection or his family covering it up, that he's still alive. I don't think if Elvis was alive, there would be Elvis sightings. If someone chooses to fake their death, I'm pretty sure they would have a plan in place so that they would stay away from civilization and change their appearance, along with not showing up as an extra in Home Alone. There are so many other celebrity conspiracy theories. I made an entire video about Marilyn Monroe, and in there spoke about some conspiracy theories regarding her death as well. Fans have even said that James Dean and Michael Jackson didn't pass away the way that the media and doctors said. I think a lot of people come to love these celebrities and they can't believe of something bad happening to them, so they come up with these conspiracy theories. I do think there are some wild coincidences, but I also think in cases like Britney Spears, since the public has so many questions that aren't being answered, people start to come up with theories. I don't think that these theories make it to the mainstream media due to malicious intent, but I do think some of them are a bit extreme. But anyway, make sure to like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, thank you for watching. This is Monica reporting to you live from a highway. Bye!